Good morning, everybody. This is the right side of campus here on a Football Friday, November 2nd, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus here for SBR Picks, breaking down some football, getting you ready for another weekend in sports. College hoops getting started next week. Lot going on. The, 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 everything's coming together here over the next couple weeks. Looking forward to it. Donnie Wrightside's our co-host. Donnie, how you doing?
Hey, doing good. Look, man, Friday, you know what the day it is, right? You're going to have a little bit of football on tonight, but we're worried about Saturday and Sunday, so we'll pick out some winners and losers, hopefully here, get some information out to the public, have some fun with it. But as always, Jeff, the morning show. You wake up, you crack the Monster, you crack the coffee. We go over the morning headlines for you. We are your sports page here at sportsbookreview.com.
Everybody hit the like button. Make sure you show some support to the show. Make sure you also check out everything going on at SBR. If you want a sportsbook rated, you're looking for a new book, make sure you check out the rating guide on sportsbookreview.com. Make sure you're dealing with an A-plus rated book. Always. That's important. Hope everyone had a great Thursday evening. A few things going on. A little football, college football, NFL. NBA, all sorts of stuff. Let's get into the show. We'll start it out with more problems down at Maryland. Players fighting now after practice. You have, certain spats taking part here. Conflicting reports that there was an altercation between two different teammates. One, according to that spoke out against DJ Durkin. According to the rest of the team, that player who spoke out, supposedly the punter, is a pathological liar. There's all sorts of weird stuff going on. It seems like a total mess down in College Park. This is a messy situation.
Yeah, it's no surprise. I mean, if you've ever been on teams before, there are factions on there where a new coach brings in his guys, old regime, you don't like it, get out, this and that. So you're going to have dissension amongst the ranks. You have it a lot of schools anyway, not just Maryland and what they're going through, but that's just the natural course of action where the next guy comes in and he wants to say, you know what? There's a reason why I'm here because the last regime was awful. Therefore, your players under that last coach, you don't really fit my system because you're a little bit soft. You're going to have those punches back and forth. Maryland's going to go through some growing pains, and good luck if you're the next head coach there because you're not going to get any support from anybody trying to improve that program. So Maryland, one of those football graveyards as is.
Terrell Owens in the news. He gets a Hall of Fame ring last night at the 49er game. Good for him. Great. They had a ceremony for him at the half last night. 8 seasons with the 49ers. And look, one of the better receivers we've ever seen in the NFL, if not probably the second best. Very, very good receiver, Terrell Owens, an All-Pro and Hall of Famer. Nice to see them honor Terrell. We all know what happened with this Hall of Fame stuff, but definitely Hall of Famer. I know yesterday, Donnie, also Brian Westbrook, Allen Iverson, they were inducted into the Philly Hall of Fame.
Yeah, good stuff there. T.O. only played in Philadelphia for a handful of games, but, you can ask a lot of people around here, Jeff. Most people would say they liked T.O. as an Eagle more than Donovan McNabb, if you can believe that, because the guy poured it out there. And to me, you're right, Jeff. I think I have him as the second overall best wide receiver of all time. Obviously, Jerry Rice is number one. Nobody's ever going to touch those records and did what he did. But I have Terrell Owens as a slight nod over Randy Moss, just because T.O. cared a little bit more about the game on the field. He did more things than Randy Moss, than throw your hand up and go deep. So it's arguable between those two, but good to see T.O. He's a little bit out there, in his head. So therefore he's getting his rings a little bit later and, seeing his bust probably for the first time because he didn't show up at the Hall of Fame ceremony. But hey, good on T.O. Hopefully lives a happy life and goes into retirement.
Yeah, I always liked T.O. I mean, he always did some weird things, but when he was here in Philly, he gave it his all, and almost brought the team a championship. I mean, if not for 5 and his exploits during that game. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see him get his respect. Rodney Anderson, Donnie, Oklahoma, headed to the NFL. Rodney Anderson was season-ending injury. Generally, you'll see these guys move on. They don't want to, again, deal with it. They'll rehab in the offseason and get ready for the NFL. He'll head to the NFL with a knee injury, but was probably one of the better running backs in the country before this before this injury. Oklahoma though hasn't missed him, Donnie. Still just rolling.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is just, it's a system offense. If you have a quarterback that can push the ball around the different outlets and be a valid runner, it doesn't really matter who your running back's going to be because you're going to have open spaces. But good on him for going to the NFL. I never fault a running back anytime, anywhere, in any situation, especially if they get injured, to move on to the next level. Running back, one of the harder positions to have longevity in the NFL because you take so many hits. Get ready for the league. Hopefully get drafted at a decent spot. Find the spot that you can get to the NFL with and move on with your life. That's where it's going to be. So I have no issues with this whatsoever, and good on the kid for moving on.
Celtics shoot 55 threes last night. Only make 24 of them, yet still beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Just an ever-changing league, Donnie. I mean, threes are on the menu now. This is what teams shoot the basketball. They didn't shoot the well, though.
You done yawning?
Yep.
What was the comment again? Go ahead.
Well, you put the Celtics shot 55 threes.
All right. Yeah, Celtics 55 threes last night. That's the new NBA, and, say what you want about it. That's how we're going to be living large, so to speak. And if you saw Kyrie Irving's comments last night saying, yeah, we'll shoot 80 if they let us shoot 80 threes. This is the new NBA revolution. I can't say I hate it because if scoring is up, fantasy ratings are up. And that's just the way it's going to be in this day and age. No longer going to have the plotting center. They're sort of, phased out of the game. You're going to have to be that Joel Embiid is probably the last of the dinosaurs there who's actually mobile, can shoot some threes, get up and down the court. But outside of that, is there any need for a center at all when the game is built on analytics and three-point shots?
Donnie, people are saying good call on the Nuggets last night. I don't think you had those, did you?
I don't know. I think I had two games. I think they both got blown up last night, both of my games. I didn't check the final scores, but they were both getting beat up. Did I have the Nuggets?
No, you had the Kings. They won, but you had the Cavs.
All right.
Yeah, you said the King. Yeah. The Nuggets did not. The Nuggets covered. Donnie, we liked the Cavs in that game. That was the.
Yeah, I think we did. Move. Yeah, I think we did have the Cavs on that.
Yeah. All good though. No problem, Donnie. 1-1, no big deal. Hey, Donnie, before we move on to our NFL segment, I wanted to ask you about this. I was actually quite happy about these comments. The Mets hired a new GM, Brody Van Wagenen, the other day, and he went on with Mike Francesa, and Mike grilled him bad about the Mets.
Yeah,
do you like that approach? Because I thought Mike was dead on the money with his comments. Mike will ask questions. He's not one of these guys that will just take no for an answer, and he went in on this guy. I thought it was good stuff by Mike.
No, I like it. I like when they do that, but you need cachet to do that. If you see in the city of Philadelphia, Angelo Cataldi, say what you want or say if you like the show. He's been around for a long time, makes I believe over $1 million a year on Philadelphia radio. He has the cachet to go up against teams. When if you've seen it in the past, Jeff, even in Philadelphia radio, most people don't even know these names, but the names really aren't the point in this issue. If you remember, Sean Brace and Johnny Marks had Bob Costas on the air, and Costas was downplaying him a little bit. They took shots at Bob Costas, and shortly after, one of the hosts was gone, and they reprimanded the show. I like when you have the chops to go after because usually the radio stations, Jeff, are so scared. Like, oh my God, if you're mean to the guy, they're never going to come back on the show. I like when you go at it because if you have a GM that says the Mets lineup is good and ready to go as is, and the on-air guy goes, you're basically blind, man. At least give me the truth. No, I think our everyday lineup is good. I love the fact that he went on with Francesa because what is the fan going to tell him to do? Hey, Mike, we're going to have to lose you. You're going to have to retire. No, that's good radio, man.
Mike playing with fire though with these guests because if you remember, Donnie, we actually never talked about this, but the Knicks basically said we don't want any more people going on WFN after Maggie Gray's comment. So Mike playing with fire with the Mets. I mean, they're one of the teams that will still go on the air. But yeah, I thought it was impressive questioning.
Isn't he a Mets guy? Isn't he a Mets fan, Jeff? Isn't he a Mets fan over a Yankee fan, Francesa?
No, Mike roots for Yankees. He's a Mets hater. He's not a Mets hater, but he doesn't ever talk good about the Mets. He likes the fact that they're inept at winning everything, so he kind of attacks them for that. No, Mike's Yankee, Giants, Knicks. But yeah, I thought the line of questioning was terrific. I thought he got the answers. Corey 88, wake up. I'm fine. You don't ever yawn throughout the day, Corey? I guess That's something only I do. I'm a Mets fan. The organization needs to start spending money, even though we were our little brother, the Yankees. This is a New York team. Yeah, Chris, I agree with you, but that's the problem. They're not going to do that. They don't. They don't spend money. You know that,
No,
Donnie.
they don't have any money. They have no money, and that's the best part about it.
Except
As being a
Bernie Madoff
being a
cleaned them out.
yeah, yeah, being a Philadelphia Phillies fan, being a Washington Nationals fan, an Atlanta Braves fan, you stood up and cheered when Major League Baseball did not force the Mets to sell. They are a bankrupt franchise, similar that we're going to talk to the Raiders in just a few moments. They have no money. It's amazing. You're in the Big Apple in New York. If Major League Baseball, after the Madoff scandal, would have forced them to sell, some billionaire guy multi times over would have came in and took over the Mets. And you know what he would immediately have done, Jeff? You know what? We're going right after the Yankees. Unlimited payroll. We're in New York City. This is how it gets done. And it's a shame because if you are a Mets fan, you live in the Big Apple. You're supposed to have a couple $100 million payroll out there, but your ownership is absolutely flat out broke. And don't be surprised when it comes up where you see all these trade rumors where you have the Syndergaards and the DeGroms where you sell them off and try to say, well, hey, we're going to rebuild the front. No. You can't pay these guys. That's why you're giving up on them. You can't pay them a penny because you're flat broke. And look, as a Phillies fan, love it. Absolutely love what Madoff did to the Mets.
The Oakland Raiders last night, Donnie, lose to the San Francisco 49ers. And look, I mean, you have to think, Donnie, this is probably the most embarrassing performance we've seen, barring the circumstances, over the last 5 years in the NFL. I mean, this is ugly stuff by the Raiders. I mean, this was a pathetic, disgusting, disgraceful, inept, ghoulish performance by the Oakland Raiders. I mean, again, it's the fucking 49ers. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not some great it's Nick Mullins. This guy's never started in the NFL. And you let him drop 34, you quit like a bunch of clowns. I mean, what the hell is going on? John Gruden, by the way, to all the Raider fans, still there for 9.5 more years. So just so everyone knows, SB Nation is writing articles, Donnie, that John Gruden should give the Raiders their money back and leave, which that won't happen. But it's just a mess out in Oakland. And then you have Gruden kind of trolling people saying, oh, everyone wants to come play here. This is a great place to be. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, the Raiders, from one broke franchise, the New York Mets, to another broke franchise, the Oakland Raiders, who just pimped themselves out all over the place just to try. I mean, look, is there any surprise that the Raiders move all the time? Because their owners don't have any money. They didn't come from money. They don't have money right now. They don't even have money, it looks like, to spend on guys like Khalil Mack. And again, I agree, the rebuilding process, right, Jeff? So let me get this straight. The Raiders are going to trade away all these players to get first-round picks. To hope, Jeff, that you get Khalil Mack in the draft again. To hope you get like a number one wide receiver, a top wide receiver like Amari Cooper. Did I miss something here? Like, they're going to try to replace the guys they just traded away when they already had them in place with their quarterback. Now you paid your quarterback last year $125 million, made him one of the most highest paid players in the sport. He's probably going to be out the door as well. But think of the mad scientist that John Gruden is. You have a free few years here because technically the Oakland Raiders clock doesn't start till they get to Las Vegas. They know they have a ton of suites to sell down there. There's going to be a lot of seats that they have to move. Season ticket holders are going to have to build that base up. So right now they're saying to you, Oakland Raiders, who are the heart and soul fans of this franchise, we don't give a shit about you. We used you guys. We're going to laugh it up while we sip champagne in Las Vegas a couple years. Thanks for being home for us here, but we don't care about you. Hell, we might even be in San Diego next year as we get ready to move into Las Vegas, one of the nomadic franchises of the NFL that treats their fans worse than anybody has ever treated their fans. That's the Al Davis, the son of Al Davis. This whole organization for the past 25 years has been an absolute train wreck and just for all intents and purposes, pissed on Oakland Raider fans in Oakland to say, look, pay your tickets now, put the money in our pocket. We're out of here in a couple years anyway. Deal with it. We are going to tank because it doesn't matter this year if we suck. It doesn't matter next year if we suck. The only thing we care about is hopefully having a team in place by the time we get to Las Vegas. So Oakland Raider fans, shout out for showing up, but that's the evil empire out there. You're just giving your money away for free to that organization at this point.
Yeah, the problem with fans, Donnie, is, and we're all victims, or we're all we all make these waves for ourselves because we go support these teams. You have to hit them with the wallet. The problem is a lot of them have played for season tickets already. It's pathetic. I mean, if you're a Raider fan, a true Raider fan, you're going to go there. You're going to go support them, and it's not their fault. And it's a shame. I mean, you hate to see a fan base like this get vilified, but you know, what do you do, Donnie? I mean, they're not going to hit them where it hurts and not go. They're leaving regardless. They don't care. It's like a senior at the end of his high school career. He's graduating. It doesn't matter by the rest of the year. It's a hang around and bullshit until we move. It's a shame. But
no, and even like the Oakland Raiders are so nomadic
down.
and so ridiculous out there that they put in Mount Davis out there, which ruined a very nice baseball yard to now make it that huge monstrosity in center field that nobody sits in anyway, I believe, for even football or now even baseball at this point. They should knock that down immediately once the Raiders leave Oakland, which they're probably not going to do. Al Davis also held the Oakland Alameda County hostage and guaranteed sellouts if they move back, where no matter if the Raiders sold, 20,000 seats, 30,000 seats, that they would guarantee and pay them for the rest of the seats. It's an unbelievable, awful franchise, the Raiders, holding everybody hostage and then putting shit products out on the field every single year.
Now, Donnie, do you agree with WW Train? He says Gruden didn't play, LOL.
No, Gruden's a genius. Gruden held out and made like $5 million a year for a long time on ESPN. Found an owner absolutely desperate for branding to give him $100 million. And if we know him by the coaching ranks, this isn't $100 in player money where it says, hey, you know what? I'll cut you in 2 years and you only got $14.2 million. Nope. Fully guaranteed $100 million, whether you like me or not. And that team is broke as a joke. So he's going to be there as long as he wants to be there. And he's going to do whatever he wants, because if Reggie McKenzie's the GM, he doesn't have any oversight, because John Gruden will be like, hey, look, I'm here and you're going to pay me and I'm going to move on and do whatever. You can't afford to pay me out. I'll do whatever I want in this front office and do whatever is needed to benefit me, not anybody else. My focus is on Las Vegas. When we get there, we should have a team in place. But these next 3 years, who gives a shit?
People are saying it looks like I have a Pat's Patriots shirt on. No, I do not. I have a Pat's Steaks shirt on, sweatshirt on. Now, Donnie, you didn't think that was a Pat's jersey, did you?
No, I did not. And how would it even be a Pats jersey? Does anybody ever have Pats, P-A apostrophe or P-A-T
exactly.
apostrophe? Yes?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, do I really have to explain that? But I guess some people are saying it looked like that. No, it's not a Pats sweatshirt. It's a Pat's Steaks sweatshirt. Couple comments here. Raiders should sign Manny Machado.
They fit right in. Laziness. Yep, absolutely.
Phil commenting, Jeff, you should not be selling picks. You can't attack other touts when you're losing. Well, actually, Phil, we've had a pretty decent football season, Phil. So maybe it's time for you to do your homework. Donnie, we're up in football, you and I, aren't we? Yes, exactly.
Something like that.
Is that? Yes. No, it is not the best cheesesteak in Philly. I know somebody that works there, and they gave me it. By the way, Donnie, the Ryan Dia, that's a imposter. Ryan Dia is a friend of mine, and he's out driving out to Michigan. That's not him. So
maybe that's him driving out, though. So maybe he's on bad wireless. He couldn't get into his YouTube account, so he came in with that. How about that? No,
it's definitely not him. He doesn't come into the show. He's an imposter. There's a lot of imposters. Have you ever tried the Philly King at Burger King, Donnie? That's a question.
Oh my goodness, no.
Ew, I hope not, Donnie. You're
I saw the commercial. You know what the best part about those Burger King commercials, which they do it all over the country. They have like a fake guy from Philadelphia supposed to be there, like in the street, like on the corner outside the restaurant, being like, "Yo, bro, this is sensational. We should service here in Philly." You know what I mean? Come on, man. Enough with that nonsense.
I didn't see that commercial. Really?
Yes, every time. It's a Philly cheesesteak pizza, so they'll have some Philly dude, eat it like, "This is amazing, man, bro. We got to get this down on 3rd Street." I mean, come on, man, stop.
Well, they have a pizza at Burger King? Is that what you're?
No, I'm just saying, like when you have like the Papa John's would sell like the Philly cheesesteak or pizza or whatever, but they always include the Philly, so you got to get this the union worker. Yo, bro, I'll bring my union brothers over here at lunch. This is tremendous, man. Where can I get it at? They always do that.
The funny thing is that we don't talk like that. If you live in Philly, like
no,
you don't even talk
like
they
take the ultimate, I don't know, caricature of
New
a South Philly guy working down on like the lumber yard or working down the port, something like that, and they just take that guy and say, "Oh, remember how Rocky used to talk? That's how they all talk."
Yeah, Because by the way, Rocky wasn't from here. I don't know if you know that. No, Rocky wasn't from Philadelphia, from the area. He didn't live here. That was kind
Actually
of
did
one of the
grow up in the
random things.
city. Grew up in the city.
Stallone, did he really?
Yeah, Stallone went to high school in Philadelphia. Yeah, yeah.
Really? Did he really? Well, my apologies
Look
then.
it
I
up.
didn't know that.
There you go.
Really? Because I have him born in New York. Interesting.
No, but he lived
Uh,
his like early teen years in the city of Philadelphia. Went to high school in Philadelphia. Yep.
really? I never knew that. How about that, Donnie?
You learn
That's
something new.
you learn something new every day. How about that? Because when you look him up, Donnie, it doesn't say anything about that in his Wikipedia page. It says that he was born in New York. Um, Interesting. Let's move on here. As far as Thursday night football, Donnie, Nick Mullins was terrific last night. How about that? He was fantastic. He came off the sidelines and threw for, what did he throw for? 262, 3 touchdowns. He was terrific. Good for the young kid.
Yeah, you watch that game and you see last week, right? The 49ers go on the road and are absolutely anemic versus the Arizona Cardinals. So you say, well, Beathard's not going to play. Most people never even heard of Nick Mullins unless you're a college fan and watched him. He was a pretty good college quarterback. But having said that, there's a lot
Southern
of really good
Miss.
college. Yeah, there's a lot of really good college quarterbacks that go to the NFL and absolutely bomb, especially when they're technically the third or fourth string guy on the roster as is. And he comes in and lights up the Oakland Raiders. It was amazing because it takes everything in your ounce when you're saying, like, how about Jeff, as the day goes on, we're talking about, was Beathard going to play? And if he does play, can he even complete a pass? And then you're going to go to a rookie out there. Look, at least the Raiders have a quarterback in place and a system in place, and they should be okay to move the football. And the 49ers aren't the, next coming of the Los Angeles Rams or Baltimore Ravens defense. They don't really serve much resistance. It's a Thursday night football game. There's not a lot of prep time, so already you're getting a young kid ready to go. Why not just take the Raiders, who I believe around game time were like a pick 'em or -1 or +1, depending on shopping, and say, I'll just throw my money on the Raiders last night, and they get bounced. And you probably sit there watching that game like, the hell was I even thinking about this? We know, like, at least the Raiders put up a fight against Indianapolis. They didn't even fight in this football game, man.
No, it's pathetic. Raiders are obviously primed for the first pick. I'm sure they'll take like a defensive end or like something like that, and they'll totally bottle it up and not do it correctly. Donnie, Raiders clearly, maybe it's a tank fest here.
No, it is. It's pretty apparent that they have no care or ill will for anything except getting to Las Vegas. As long as they have a team that they can put around and sell tickets in Las Vegas and sell suites in Las Vegas, that's all they care about. That's their business plan right now, which is a shame because if you're a Raiders fan, or again, getting back to just being an Oakland Raiders fan, where you're supposed to have like one, two, or three last good seasons and then off to Vegas you go, they're really pulling punches on you, man. You should be like the Cleveland Browns. Remember the Cleveland Browns fans, Jeff, when they played their last home game before going to back to Baltimore, where they're just tearing out the seats and just creating mayhem out there? That's what they should be doing out in Oakland.
We spent way too much time talking about this game, Donnie. Pathetic game, and it was a pathetic performance. Raiders
Mm-hmm.
letting their fans down. Ohio
Yeah.
Bobcats roll last night, 59-14. 6 turnovers for Western Michigan. It rained for both teams, Donnie, but didn't seem to bother Ohio very much. They absolutely, I mean, I got to tell you, in the first half, that was probably the most dominating performance by one team I've seen in a long time in a college football game. I mean, they were just unbelievably efficient in the first half. I mean, turnovers galore. Impressive night for Ohio last night. I mean, Rourke had it going on. Alette had it going on. The whole team had it going on. Defensively, they continue to be very good. This was an impressive night for Ohio.
No, it really was. I mean, that's the real Ohio team that we've been waiting on. You can see what they can do, especially in the running game. That was the one total I got wrong last night in college football. I thought it would stay under, but damn, I didn't see Ohio scoring that many points and getting after it, especially in bad weather. And it almost still stayed under the number in the second half because Ohio, Jeff, as you see, if you're not returning fire on Ohio, they'll just take the air out of the football. But even that, when you were watching in the second half, like A.J. Olette, straight up the middle on read option plays. They weren't looking to run the quarterback around the end. You knew they were just looking to run clock, and it was just open space after open space after open space. And I'm surprised how far the defense for Western Michigan has fallen off, Jeff. That's the one stall where you could have leaned on and said, you know what? I mean, MAC defenses aren't going to be the end-all, be-all shutdown, but you got to have some pride when you know this football team in bad weather just wants to run the football. But that's the second week in a row where they just ripped off chunk after chunk after chunk, and they look good doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you lose guys like Darius Phillips for Western Michigan in the secondary. You're gonna definitely lose some things. They run for 256 on the ground. Ohio was in a short field all night. It was impressive work by them. Um, UCF wins in a shootout. They win. They also cover. If you had the Temple Owls in this game, pretty tough beat. I mean, really.
How
I
did it
mean,
end, by the way?
uh,
I was in. I actually went to bed when Temple had the lead and woke up to see. So somebody must have mushed Temple. I'm not too sure, but what happened at the end, Jeff? Was it a late cover or did they hold on for the cover?
no, they kicked a field goal with like a minute left. It was pretty
Ooh.
brutal. They were up 9. Temple was within a touchdown most of the game. But look, Temple. This is kind of the problem. You can't finish games like this, and this has been the story with Temple. They haven't been able to kind of step up and get these kind of wins. Remember against Notre Dame a couple years ago, Don? They played great in that game, couldn't finish.
Oh, it was a great game. Sold out. Yep, could have beat that team. Yes,
Yeah.
I believe Will Fuller scored a big touchdown in that game, Jeff. Late.
Yeah, and the problem with Temple also, I mean, this Anthony Russo kid, Donnie, I think is really impressive. I think this kid, down the road could be a really good player. The problem he has is throws too many interceptions. I mean, had threw a big pick last night. He's thrown 10 interceptions on the season. He only has 9 touchdowns. Interceptions have been a problem for Frank Russo. And look, he's a sophomore. It's his first season. He'll get going, but you can't turn the ball over 7 times over the last 4 games and expect to win games like this. UCF will make you pay, but a gallant effort by the Owls. I mean, they went toe to toe with the big boys last night. And really were right there. You look at Donnie, the yardage in this game. I mean, 1,300 yards of total offense. I mean, what a wild game. It was over at the half as far as the total is concerned. Impressive gallant effort by Raquel Armstead and Russo, but just too many mistakes late in the game.
Yeah, 59 points is what it went off at last night. I'm saying if Mackenzie Milton's going to play in this football game, you already know UCF's going to go 100 miles an hour, which means Temple is going to have more possessions. And that game went way over the total, just like we predicted. But interesting enough about this game, there was one, I believe it was in the third quarter. Raquel Armstead on like a 3rd and 1 went up the middle and got 2 yards and was body splashed by a like 300-pound defensive lineman who laid on top of him, then acted like he was getting up and laid back on top of Armstead, who forced his way up like almost like a bench pressure, like you need to get up off me. It wasn't. I could see if you said, "Look, I'm going to throw the flag. We're going to settle this down." Look, you don't want to escalate the situation by pushing him off, but we understand he was laying on top of you and wouldn't get off. The 15-yard penalty pushed it back, Jeff, and that's the interception you're talking about where now Temple's like, all right, we're at the 20. Let's see if we can make something happen. And threw the pick the very next play. That was a ridiculous call in that game.
No, pathetic call. I know exactly what you're talking about. Chris Collins was hot. Everybody was hot. I would have been hot. That was a pathetic call. Even the announcers were shredding the call. It was just dreadful, and it really put them behind the 8 ball because it knocked out a first down. It ended up losing a down. It was just a bad penalty for Temple, and that really was kind of, I thought, the turning point of the game. By the way, Donnie, Alabama would score fucking 100 against UCF. UCF is pathetic on defense. And that will work in the American, but let's again, we need to stop with this. They would score 100 against UCF.
They're moving up that list.
They can move. They're not going anywhere though.
They're like a deluxe apartment, man. They're moving up.
Yeah. So again, valiant effort by the Owls. Not enough though. Northern Illinois, Akron. Everyone thought it was going to be 17-10, but Donnie, this game was over at the half, I believe. One team scored the total themselves. Shout out to all the sharps who thought this would be a low-scoring effort. 37, absolutely blown out.
Yeah, no, and that was it, Jeff. Didn't we talk about it yesterday? I said, look, this game's at 37. I don't care what the windy conditions are. Games aren't built for 37, especially in the MAC. The kid's going to be able to run around for Akron, make a couple plays, maybe get some bust-out long ones. And it was 14-7 right off the bat, I believe, in the first quarter, and flew over the total. I believe they might have had it pushed already at the half, but easily going over. This didn't have anything to do about capping, because if you were trying to do that, I'm going to be really sharp. It's 37 for a reason. It looks so low. That's because it should be there. Northern Illinois does tend to play lower scoring games, but when you get them in regular matchups in the MAC, they're going to be in the 40s most of the time, and they flew over the total. This had nothing to do, Jeff, with how good one defense is, how good one offense is. This just said 37 in MAC football. Come on, man. Just take the over, and it covered easy.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see another game this weekend where you're going to see a total in the mid 30s as well. I mean, Wyoming San Jose State will be in the 30s as far as the total. So, yeah, I mean, this one, I don't even think there were weather problems in this game. It was just they thought it'd be a low scoring game. But an interesting night of football last night, Donnie. How about also the George Kittle prop, Donnie? It blew out of the water. Easy winner.
I think you hit it on one play, right? I think he
Yeah,
had one
yeah.
catch that went just the
71
whole
yard.
time. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yep.
Set up a touchdown. Yeah, it was beautiful. I don't bet props ever, but that was a good one. Shout out to you, George Kittle. Let's move on to tonight, Donnie. We got 3 college games on the card. Are you excited about this card?
No, I can't say that I'm actually excited about this card. I'm more focused on Saturday and the NFL coming up. I thought last night's card was fun because you know me. I like to dig a little bit of action and watch that. And I wanted to watch the hometown Temple boys. I thought there'd be some points, some scoring there. The NFL game was a big clud, but I'm not really getting that feeling, Jeff, that it's must-watch TV in any of these games. And you know me, a 10:30 start between Colorado and Arizona as is. I'm not too sure I'll even make it to kickoff in that football game.
315, 316. Virginia laying 7.5, total 47. Low total here, which you don't see often. But how about Virginia, Donnie? I mean, you keep putting obstacles in front of this team, and they keep taking care of business. Bronco Mendenhall and this group have been very good. Big wins against Duke and Miami. Beat Ohio as well, who we obviously know is a good offense. They've been taking care of business, Donnie. No issues at all. They're 7-1 against the spread. They've covered all 4 home games this year. Bryce Perkins has been very good for the Cavs, and defensively they have been terrific. There's a huge discrepancy in this game as far as defense is concerned. Pittsburgh, as always, 500, very average. And Narduzzi's crew can't stop anybody. That's a typical Pittsburgh team. Struggles stopping people. And just kind of 500. That's what they are. I think Virginia gets the job done here on defense. I'm not really looking to step in front of them. You look at Donnie, they were 8-point favorites in their last game. Didn't have a problem, got the cover. They've been a favorite several different times this year and have gotten the chicken. What do you think here? Any thoughts? 2 teams that we don't talk about a whole lot.
No, you don't. And I think Virginia, obviously, we can say is the better overall football team. If you're looking at it from a total perspective, Jeff, 47.5 doesn't seem to be that high. Virginia doesn't technically play as an over team. Be more of a quarterback that scrambles, uses his feet, dump off plays as opposed to, launching balls downfield. But what do you like about Pittsburgh, Jeff? They do have a tendency to get real lax on defense. 54-45 last week. Notre Dame, they did play to a tough game on the road in the lower scoring one, the 19-14, but that Syracuse 44-37, UCF 45-14, and then North Carolina 38-35. You think Virginia would be able to do whatever they want against that defense, especially with the scrambling quarterback, something that instead of taking maybe the 7.5 full game, which I think Pittsburgh should be able to put up some points in this one, maybe a first half look. I think Virginia's the better football team. I think they'll establish that in the first half. You don't have any crazy backdoor coverage where one team's not trying to score or not. Maybe a -4 look for Virginia in the first half. I could see them being up a touchdown at the half.
317, 318, Middle Tennessee State hosting the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Middle Tennessee laying 13.5, total 53. A lot of points to lay if you're Middle Tennessee State, but they looked real good last week against Old Dominion. We're on fire. Brent Stockstill looked terrific as always. But I mean, there were 5 turnovers for Old Dominion. They were set up pretty well. This Middle Tennessee State team still struggles to get stops through the air. They gave up 333 last week. The turnovers obviously help. But, Donnie, Western Kentucky are pretty bad. I mean, they didn't show up last week against Florida International in probably the best spot for them in history. They've lost 4 straight, 3 against the number, and have 1 win on the season. You talk about coaching, Donnie. What an amazing difference between Jeff Brom and Mike Sanford. It's really been amazing how bad this West Kentucky team has fallen. The days of Brandon Dowdy and Mike White are long since over. Hilltoppers are struggling.
Yeah, Jeff, you saw last night one of the more famous Middle Tennessee State players, Jeff. Richie James was playing last night for the 49ers. His old counterpart's still there with Ty Lee. They're the better overall football team, yes. Here's the interesting part of it, because you're looking at a team, Jeff, that Western Kentucky is 1-7. If you were to move these teams back, let's just say like 2 or 3 weeks into the season, where maybe Western Kentucky was still playing for something and, wasn't really such a disparity between teams 5-3, 1-7, I think you would get a more hardy defensive effort out of Western Kentucky. But in these games, you tend to get a little bit more lax. You try new things. You fake some punts. You go for it in situations where you normally would punt it away if you're overall looking at the win. Because to me, Middle Tennessee State is not really an over team. They don't go incredibly fast. Ty Lee is a pretty good wide receiver, but look at his numbers on the season, Jeff. 10 yards per catch, 382 yards on the season. Something is amiss in that. They don't have that big play weapon. They're methodical. They'll score on Western Kentucky. There's no question about that. But normally I would say this game might be an under, but 53 points with a team that's out of it, I just think you'll see some shenanigans from their side. Their defense already isn't that good. Maybe a small play on the over for me in this one.
Interesting. I actually look towards the under a bit more. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like Middle Tennessee might put up some points, but the Hilltoppers have just been inept to move the ball. I mean, they're not really very explosive. They don't really offer much through the air on the ground. I think Middle Tennessee could put up some points, but it's a tough game. I think it might be. It's kind of out of my price. If this was 9.5, I'd probably have a little bit more interest, but 13.5, 14, little bit high for me to get involved. Though I think Middle Tennessee would take care of business. West Kentucky seems like Donnie, they've quit. Last game,
that's a little bit. That was a little bit on my angle in that, because you look at the last 3 games, you have 54 points. What are we looking at? 71 points, and then playing well into the 50s in the other game. I'm just looking at it from that perspective. If you quit a little bit, Jeff, you know where you quit the most on defense. That's all. But just to trying to get an angle in this one.
No, I hear you on that. I guess for me, I'm looking at it with Middle Tennessee and the fact that up until last week, they hadn't scored more than 25 points.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Against an FBS team. So, yeah, again, I mean, it's interesting, and that's what's interesting about this game. What are you going to get out of West Kentucky? What are you going to get out of some of these teams? Because the season's starting to be looked into perspective for a lot of these teams. Yes. Let's go to 319, 320. Arizona hosting Colorado. Arizona 3, total 56.5. It's very simple for me, Donnie. If Laviska Shenault plays, I'm interested. If Laviska Shenault does not play, I would take Arizona. I think he's that important to this football team, and that's been no more evident of the last 3 games for Colorado. Without him, they've lost every game. Do I think their offense looked decent last week? Yeah, it did. But again, Arizona looked pretty good on offense, and they defensively started to look up. I think at home they're a different team, Arizona. Khalil Tate looked very good. They're starting to run the football a lot more effectively. Laviska Shenault's very important to Colorado, Donnie. That's been evident.
Yeah, no, and if he's going to come back or not come back, is that something that you want to buy into, that he's going to be full speed? Because it's not so much as like, if a wide receiver like him come back, it's a shoulder injury, it's an elbow injury. So you know what? His legs are still there. I believe it's a toe injury or a leg injury, isn't it, that Laviska Shenault is trying to battle? Which, when you're a speed guy built on that and you're going to be playing on turf tonight, it's not the greatest thing. And maybe he's on a pitch count and can only run certain, routes, and you're trying to save him up. He's not going to be all the way there, which sometimes can be a detriment, because you force him back in, you try to force him the ball, that maybe the backup might be a little bit more effective because he's only running at, 50, 60, 70% at that point. It's a tough one. Khalil Tate's back in it for Arizona. This line, to me, just looking at where it opened up, -4, now down to 2.5. Can you still trust Arizona? I mean, I know they beat Oregon last week. I don't even know what Oregon team that actually showed up on the field. But if you're looking just on that game, yeah, Arizona should be able to roll over Colorado. But just get one of those feels like this line just seems really short for an Arizona home team, with Colorado coming in with some banged up people.
Yeah, these games are awful. I hate these games. They're not good. These are 3 bad football games. I mean, last night you had maybe some maybe something on the
scoring
bone,
possibilities. Like, where's the high flying games at tonight? You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, this is ugly. I mean, Colorado and Arizona could turn into a shootout, maybe. Just kind of. I mean, they have offensive capabilities, but it's pretty ugly stuff here. I hate to say it, but I can't even recommend anything here. I mean, the only one I'd maybe consider would be Virginia. I think they can win by double digits. But other than that, there's not much to like on this card. Donnie, anything from you here?
No, not too much. I'm not going to be that interested in this football game. Over under is about right at 57. I mean, look, in the Pac-12, Arizona's defense, you usually would tend to believe that they can get an over as long as it's not into the 60s. But I don't have a real feel for this game. No.
Yeah, pretty ugly. Um, Quickly here, just want to bring something up. There is one game today in England, Aston Villa, Bolton. Um, listen, the price on Bolton is a bit high, 8.5. That's plus 750 to anyone that's curious about it. And listen, Aston Villa are a good side, but that's a big price for Bolton. If you have interest, Bolton have dropped. They're 19th in the league. They're giving up goals, but Villa's not, as good as people think. I mean, Donnie, explain this to me for anyone that's not aware. There are 24 spots in the England Championship, the second level. Now, Bolton's 19th, Villa's 17th. They've given up more goals. They're just not good in front of goal, yet they're a huge price here. Bolton, if they can make this and muck up the waters, this could be an interesting one. Bit of a high price. Donnie, if you were in betting this, you would consider the dog? I mean, only 2 slots above. How do you justify such a huge price?
Jeff, is somebody going to sit out? Is somebody tanking this game? Is it
I don't
already
know.
on the hook out there, huh?
That's interesting. A lot of,
Mhm.
here's the thing though, not a sexy price for Villa backers at home. No one wants to lay this price. So generally, that will mean that Villa will win, but might seem like a juicy odds there on Bolton Wanderers at 8.5.
Yeah.
Maybe they hang around here. Let's go through the weekend here. Dottie, what do you have your eye on Saturday? What do you have your eye on?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're going to look at the old targets, or like I say, the old mainstay game, 419, 420, 8 o'clock down at LSU. That's something I'm going to tune into. I'm glad it's a night game. I'm glad it's down at LSU because I haven't been able to watch a lot of Alabama football in the afternoons. I usually don't bet Alabama football games, and usually they're over very quickly within like the first 10 to 15 minutes. It's a 21 to nothing boat race. What I would like to see on that football game, I don't care if you have LSU, I don't care if you have Alabama. I just want to see him tested a little bit, Jeff. Like, I want to see maybe 21-14 in the second quarter or 21-14 in the third quarter, a 7-point game, whatever the score might be heading into the fourth. I think there'll be a lot of fun to see what Alabama is made of in a tough environment because I'm going to say, if they go down there and just shell shock LSU at LSU on a Saturday night, what's the point of the college football season, man? But that's one game I do want to have some interest in and sit down and actually watch throughout the day.
Yeah, I think they're going to too. And then everyone's going to say, why are we even playing? We're not going to beat this team. But hey, we'll see what happens. Again, I mean, that's why they play the game, right, Donnie? You got to keep
Injuries
at it.
happen too. Yeah,
Sure,
do.
sure. Um, who's on upset alert to you, Donnie? You have anyone?
I mean, that's the game I was looking at there. I mean, but it's a 14.5-point game. If you're looking at some other upset alert type situations, Washington State off a huge victory, now going to play a defensive Cal team, which I haven't checked the latest. I don't know if they're getting Bowers back just yet at quarterback for California. Ross Bowers is questionable with a thumb injury. That could impede that process. USC Oregon's an interesting one, Jeff. Oregon State, after coming all the way back versus Colorado, getting a little bit healthier here on offense. USC laying a monster number on the road. Could USC be on upset alert, Jeff, at Oregon State in one of those little, hey, we should win this football game easy, but this Oregon State football team's a little bit better put together than what they were a couple weeks ago.
No, they were terrific last week, I thought. I
Yeah.
mean, really impressive. For me, upset alert, Donnie, I'm going to go down and do Lubbock. I think Texas Tech's a live dog. I think they can hang around. That's generally a very odd game, Donnie. Very high scoring, back and forth. Maybe boys from Lubbock can get on the other side of one of these. Alan
Yeah, it should be
Bowman
decent
back.
weather down there. You should get some scoring down there. It's all a matter of what Oklahoma's going to do on offense. You're going to get the good Oklahoma, Jeff, that just Kyler Murray rolls up and down the field, or you're going to get one of those Bowman games for Texas Tech where he throws for 575 yards and keeps them in it. Should be a good one.
I mean, these games are generally like 58, 55, so keep that in mind. What else do we have? A lot of people thinking Northwestern maybe can hang around and cover
Yeah,
and maybe
yes.
win
There you
against
go.
Notre Dame. I'd love to see that. Donnie, I think the most fascinating game of the day is Air Force Army. I know no one will cares about it, but I think it's a fascinating handicapping situation. You have, according to Guan White and people that are familiar with the military, these two teams don't like each other. There's a lot of bad blood between these two groups as far as teams are concerned, and these teams like to fight it out on the football field. I think intangibles are important here. Can the team get off the field on third down? Can a team make that throw across the middle? Army has shown that they can do that, and the fact that this is down to 6.5, I think is really a nice move for if you're looking Army here. I think Army gets the better of Air Force, but I think it's a fascinating game.
Yeah, one of those games that look, there's not going to be a lot of possession since they both run the triple option. Jeff, always growing up, I always had this, this question I used to ask like my dad and be like, man, Dad, why are we getting deprived of this? Why doesn't an Army have a football team, Navy have a football team, Air Force, but the Marines don't have a university and a football team? I think if I was president, Jeff, I would have a Marines university just so we can complete that actual aspect and put them in their own conference together. I think it would work.
The Coast Guard will have to get one too then.
Coast Guard does have a football team. We played them. I played them Division III. How about that?
Bullshit.
Coast Guard Academy, yes. Yep, Coast Guard Academy. It's a Division III.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get that. We need to get them up to. Got
to get them up to Division I. Yeah, somebody's got to make a donation out there. Come on, you know what I mean? Let's get these donations
now,
up
Donnie,
there so Coast Guard Academy can be Division I.
Here's the major question: what's their mascot? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I do not remember what their mascot. It's
kind of random, actually.
No, you know what? I don't remember what their mascot is.
They're the Bears.
How about that? Yeah, no, I didn't recognize that at all.
They've had an okay season, 5-3. They're about to be bowl eligible, Donnie. So
they play right on the river. I believe it's up there. I think it's in, I want to say Connecticut. It's right on the river, like right on the river. Coast Guard Academy. It's a pretty cool spot.
New London, Connecticut. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty cool spot.
Now, Donnie, they have 2 games left against Merchant Marine, whatever that is.
There you go.
The Merchant Marines are like another form of military. They actually just lost, Donnie, to the Brainiacs at MIT, 13-0. So got shut out.
There's a lot of those schools out there, Jeff. Yeah.
There's a lot of school. I never knew the Coast Guard had a football team. Interesting stuff.
Yep.
We need to get. We need Donnie. Have you ever? Now let me ask you, Don. I always wanted to ask you this about your football career. Have they ever honored you at like a game? Did they ever do that?
No. First of all, we were a really bad football team. So the only thing they were honoring. The best part about me, like having the record when I left, we're talking about wide open spread offenses in college, like where I would lead the league with like 41 catches for the season. Now, if these guys are getting 41 catches in like the first 4 games of the season because they run 150 plays, as opposed to we were just running a single an I backfield, 2 wide receivers. When we went to passing offenses in the 90s, Jeff, it was 3 wide receivers, and that was high tech. So that's where we were coming from.
Settle down, J.R. Smooth. Keep your comments to yourself as far as that. Settle down. Yeah, that's interesting, Donnie. I didn't know if they ever did that. So yeah, interesting weekend in college football. Donnie, what I wanted to ask you about real quick here. Why is Stanford getting 10 points against Washington? What's that all about?
I don't know. That's just a weird one there. This is what Washington's going to wake up on offense and get after it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And what are they really playing for? Is Washington like saying, "Ooh, we can get back into the national title race"? Like, I don't know. It's a weird one. You're right.
Yeah, no, it's very odd. I don't get that number at all. We'll talk about all these and more today on the WCKG show. The closing line, 3 p.m., 2 p.m. Central, 12 on the West Coast. We'll take your calls if you have a game you want us to go over. Make sure you give us a call in, and we'll get your questions answered. Donnie, what do you say we wrap it up a bit early today? We went through everything. We'll keep some content for the late show. Any plans on the weekend for you?
No, just doing what we do. I'll be at a 6-7-year-old soccer game tomorrow afternoon for college. We'll buckle up. No Eagles football on Sunday, Jeff, so don't have that added anticipation and added stress. It was nice the previous week before they played in London in the morning, so you could sort of enjoy just gambling on NFL games without having to have one eye glued on the Eagles game. So a little bit more of a freer weekend up here, and we'll see if we can pick out some winners just like everybody else wants to do as well.
Yep, should be fun as always. Thanks everyone for checking us out today. We'll be, again, like I said, back on a little bit later, 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll get you ready for the weekend in college and pro football. We'll take your calls and have some fun on the show. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for checking us out. It's Friday, Football Friday. Make sure you enjoy it, and we'll see you a bit later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.